not supposed to shake hands?
I don't know how we do that. We gotta do it like this.
Yeah.
There you
That's
go.
great.
Oh, ASEAN style.
Yeah, ASEAN Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
It's the only way you can do it.
Yeah.
Are we not supposed to shake
Okay.
hands?
I don't know how we do that. We gotta do it like this.
Yeah.
There you
That's
go.
great.
Oh, ASEAN style.
Yeah, ASEAN Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
It's the only way you can do it.
Secretary Rubio, External Affairs Minister, and Krishna.
No
With all the
questions.
trade
No
tensions
questions.
between the two countries,
No
will really be the
questions
focus
today.
of this
Thank
hearing.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, and all of you for convening here today on this important matter. When President Trump took office, he made it among his highest priorities the restoration of peace anywhere and everywhere in the world where the opportunity presented itself. And it's met with great success in a number of places. We had a conflict between India and Pakistan, which was a very dangerous conflict, and one that he chose to engage in and was able to bring it to, be very involved in bringing it to a cessation of hostilities. When Thailand and Cambodia were engaged in hostilities, the president got involved over a weekend over in the United States, and were able to play a critical role in that regard as well. We are very grateful to some of the countries in this room that were helpful in that regard with the DRC and Rwanda, and work remains to be done. But again, a conflict that presents grave dangers and extraordinary humanitarian challenges. With Azerbaijan and Armenia as well. He has become involved, and we were able to sign an agreement at the White House very recently that hopefully prevents a future conflict which would prove costly and deadly. But the one that's proved to be an extraordinary challenge has been the war in Ukraine, between Russia and Ukraine. The President has worked on it tirelessly, has invested a tremendous amount of his own time, energy, and the highest levels of our government. We have had meetings in Turkey, meetings in Saudi Arabia, meetings in Alaska, countless phone calls, doing everything possible to bring this conflict to a resolution and to an end. A war that cannot end militarily. It will end at a negotiating table. That's where this war will end. But the longer it lasts, the more people will die, the more will be destroyed. Some of the numbers we are seeing in the loss of life among military personnel, for example, on the Russian Federation side, are staggering. Staggering. In 1 month alone, more loss of life than in the entirety of the U.S. engagement in Afghanistan or Iraq. This war has to end, and we have done everything we possibly can and will continue to do everything we possibly can to bring it to an end. Very generous offers have been made. For example, a ceasefire at the current lines of contact, while all the other details on the future of the conflict could be worked out in terms of future territorial lines. The President has shown extraordinary patience in terms of not assessing additional sanctions in the hopes of having a breakthrough in this regard. And all has come to what appears to be not just a stagnant one, but an era, and we've entered a period of what appears to be potential even escalation, with the historically highest number of strikes we've seen over the last few nights and before. And now we are also watching incursions into neighboring airspace by both drones and airplanes. The President is a very patient man. He's very committed to peace, but his patience is not infinite. And as he has said repeatedly, he has before him the opportunity and the options of imposing additional economic costs on the Russian Federation if necessary in order to bring this to an end. He also has before him the option, as he has already chosen to do in some circumstances, to sell defensive weaponry and potentially offensive weaponry so that Ukraine can defend itself from this assault by purchasing that weaponry. So I'm here to say to the Security Council, the United States remains as committed as it has ever been to a peaceful resolution to this dangerous conflict. But there will come a moment in which we will have to conclude that perhaps there is no interest in a peaceful resolution. And then the President has before him real options, which he intends to pursue, as he has made clear today in some of the messages he has put out. So I strongly urge the Security Council, the member states here, and those who are not part of this as well, to do everything in their power, and including the Russian Federation, to do everything within their power, and the Ukrainian side for that matter as well, but all sides, to bring this war to an end before it becomes something that will last another 3 or 4 years, lead to more destruction, both economic and at the same time a loss of life and loss of property and loss of futures. This war needs to end. But if it does not, if there is no path to peace in the short term, then the United States and President Donald J. Trump will take the steps necessary to impose costs for continued aggression. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Haiti stands at a crossroads. Port-au-Prince faces an escalating security crisis with gangs terrorizing communities, extorting families, and recruiting desperate children to commit horrors on behalf of gang leaders. I'd like to thank President Ruto of Kenya for organizing this event. Kenya has shown courageous leadership in leading the multinational security support mission, and we are deeply grateful for its commitment and the sacrifices it has made, including, as you just mentioned, Mr. President, the lives of 3 of your people. Despite the contributions of Kenya and the countries that have joined the MSS, though, the mission currently lacks the mandate and the resources necessary to address the mounting scale of the challenge. That is why the United States and Panama have worked with Haiti to introduce a UN Security Council resolution to establish a larger gang suppression force with a broader mandate and a UN support office for Haiti, which would provide the necessary operational and logistical support for the force. This effort responds to the call from our partners in Kenya, as we have just heard, and has the full endorsement of Haiti. All 32 members of the Organization of American States have likewise signed on to a joint statement calling for the urgent passage of this resolution. It's not that often you get all 32 members of an international body to agree on something. Requested by Haiti, this new force would consist of more than 5,500 personnel, more than 5 times the size of the current MSS mission, and would operate under a mandate authorized by Chapter 7 of the UN Charter. This mandate would empower the force to proactively target gangs and restore security to Haiti while ensuring it has the appropriate tools to succeed. The mission's anticipated objectives include reducing territorial control by gangs, securing critical infrastructure, and conducting anti-gang operations. Unfortunately, the adoption of this resolution is not a done deal. Despite overwhelming support of the UN Security Council, there are still those who might try to prevent its adoption or slow our response in Haiti's hour of need. The time for action is now, and the United States asks all our partners to join us in pressing for this critical resolution before the MSS mission mandate expires on October 2nd. Our proposed resolution would address Haiti's immediate security challenges, but we must also not ignore the long-term recovery of Haiti. The era of impunity is over for individuals promoting violence and undermining the country's stability and governance. The United States has already taken decisive action to support restoring democratic governance, but we are not done. We welcome others to join these efforts. Today, I am announcing that the Department of State is taking additional actions to publicly designate 2 officials for their involvement in significant corruption during their time in public office. The actions of Arnel Belizaire, a former member of the Haitian Chamber of Deputies, and Antonio Cherami, a former Haitian senator, have both had a destabilizing effect on Haiti's democratic institutions and processes. Our designation renders Belizaire, Cherami, and their immediate family members ineligible for entry into the United States. The U.S. government will remain relentless in pursuing those supporting terrorist gangs through indictments, arrests, sanctions, armed seizures, and other immigration restrictions. The United States has long been a partner and a friend to Haiti. However, we cannot continue to bear the lion's share of the financial burden in addressing the hemisphere's security threat. That is why we call on all UN member states to support the creation of a GSF and UN support office and to provide the resources required to stabilize Haiti. This is not a crisis that can be ignored or deferred. It demands urgent, coordinated, and decisive action. The people of Haiti cannot wait. Thank you.